They very nearly died of politeness. 2 others are my parents, as you'll see. This dangerous politeness was bequeathed to me early on. I was conditioned to think that I mustn't ask for things, must never put anyone out. So trained to be insanely polite that I learned to have no needs at all. Even if someone was handing me an already poured glass of ice water, I was to say, "No, thank you, I'm not thirsty." Because otherwise, well, imagine what might happen. I could conceivably become the person who, every time she showed up, needed a freshly poured glass of fucking ice water, and who would want to be such a person? My polite near-death came when I was about 8 years old. My 99-year-old great-uncle Jack was driving his wife, great-aunt Marion, my parents, and me back to their house after dinner out. The lovely old fellow was occasionally veering in and out of the oncoming, if blessedly empty, traffic lane. Rather than saying anything out loud like, I don't know, "For God's sake, pull over, Jack, we're all gonna die," my parents simply moved me to the spot between them on the back seat, thinking, I presume, that when the inevitable head-on collision occurred, I'd be killed a little less in the middle. Never mind the fact that I was now perfectly poised for a straight shot through the windshield. Finally, Great Uncle Jack full-on wobbled into the other lane and stayed there, straddling the yellow line. But this time, a car was approaching. Still, not a peep from my parents. At the very last instant, with mere seconds before impact, Marion gently said, "A little to the right, Jack." I still remember the distorted faces of the occupants of the other car streaking past us, inches away, as he swerved just in time. The lesson being, even if there's death in the offing, or of the offspring, don't say something that could possibly be perceived as impolite. I think the big task of my life is to close the gap between when something happens to me and when I react authentically to it. And miraculously, the characters I've played have helped transform me slowly, in fits and starts, into someone who can stand up for herself and who, on occasion, knows how she feels about something right in the moment. It wasn't until I played Thelma that I realized I may have wanted to become an actor so fervently because I could use acting to fill out the persona of someone confident in their abilities, someone I desperately wanted to be like in real life. You've heard the term, fake it till you make it. I would inelegantly paraphrase that as, act like it enough and it might just rub off on you. At the very least, people would think you're like that in real life. Before Thelma and Louise, I felt plagued by the strong currents of self-effacement coursing through me, so I decided to try taking a self-defense class, with Impact, a great company offering these kinds of classes. In this class, you face up against a man in a huge padded suit, like the Michelin Man, so you can fight him as hard as you can without any fear of hurting him. The first thing the instructor did was to have us stand in a line, and one by one the padded man would walk toward us. When it felt like he was about to invade our boundaries, we were to say, "Stop." One by one, he approached my fellow classmates, and the differences in when they felt he was getting too close showed how strong or weak their boundaries were. And when it was my turn, he ended up walking right into me, because somehow I couldn't manage to say stop in time. Evidently, I thought I had no license to tell anybody to stop doing anything. But by the time I reached my 40s, I'd become a middle-aged data geek and had my own institute on gender and media, and I became a mom. I had my kids late in life, at 46 and 48, and I thought it was wonderful that this happened after I'd become more of who I was supposed to be. I could show them what it was like to be a strong woman and raise them to see women and men as equals. For example, have you ever heard this riddle? A father and a son are in a terrible accident and they're taken to different hospitals. When the boy is wheeled into the operating room, the surgeon exclaims, "I can't operate on him. He's my son. Who is the surgeon?" So an interviewer once commented to me that if anyone would know the answer, it would be my kids. And I said, "You got that right." So later, just for fun, I told the riddle to one of my 5-year-old sons, knowing he would nail it. He named every type of male relative that exists, then moved on to the neighbor before I stopped him to say it was the patient's mother. No way. Women can't be doctors. Yikes. Another time, I was with my little twin boys in the park when they saw a squirrel.